I'm sitting like, yeah.
Is it rolling?
Yeah, sure.
Oh, should I just sing?
Yeah, just be natural. It's fine. No, my me.
Not be natural.
Oh dear.
Off we go.
How did you come up with the idea for like Mr. Moon? Like, where did the actual name kind of come from?
Because I went to Israel and I stayed in Israel for a bit, and I lived in a flat with some Israeli girls. And when I used to go out, they used to say the Israeli men were jealous because I lived in a flat with all these girls. So they used to say, "Where does he come from?" And the girls used to say, "Unfortunately, he fell from the sky. He's Mr. Moon." And I thought that's not a bad. It's not a bad angle.
And obviously I've heard some of your music as well, and I think it's almost infectious. I think it's a really good way of describing it. How did you get into music in the first place? Obviously everyone has to start somewhere.
I didn't really start playing until I was about 25 years old. My main influences, and I've met them all since, but one of them's died now, was the Incredible String Band. And the Incredible String Band were a kind of 1960s, very hippie-based band, but they used a fiddle and sitar and different kind of instruments than anyone else was using at the time. And they were, that's a tractor going past.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not a farm.
Yeah, working farm. Yeah.
Working farm. I sort of, I listened to them, and they incorporated a lot of traditional kind of Irish and Scottish and Welsh traditional influences in their music, like with harps and fiddles, and I just thought that's a great angle, because at the time it was the 60s, you know, and the 70s, and then I kind of got to an age and I kind of listened to this kind of rock and stuff and Bob Dylan and all those kind of things, but this band, the Incredible String Band, kind of inspired me to look more at the folk tradition in Britain. And so that's where I started to play the guitar first, and then I picked up the fiddle, and I've kind of travelled around and used influences from India and Africa, which I've picked up on my travels, and I kind of incorporate them into the music that I play now.
These days you travel, you know, with Elena, and you kind of travel around, well, I suppose, the world.
Yeah, the
much,
world,
you know?
yeah.
The writing process, do you go from stories, personal experiences?
It's always from a personal experience, but what happens is someone says one line and I get absorbed in the line.
Yeah.
And I take the line in and I file it away. It sort of acts like a little pilot light, and it starts igniting something in my mind, and then I get all these kind of wacky notions that come out of it. I'm like a sponge, really. I absorb all these things, and the rhythms and the stanzas of words, the way they rhyme and the way they work and the way they run. And so I could be in anywhere. It could be a butcher shop, could be a pub, could be anywhere. Someone will say something, and just the rhythm of what they've said and the image that it conjures up, and then my mind gets really absorbed in it. And I just kind of take it away and let it mull over with me for a while. The writing process is pretty easy, really, because you're just channeling your thoughts onto a piece of paper. So I write songs really quick. I write songs in 4 or 5 minutes because they're already in there and they just come out, and sometimes I don't really know what they're about. And then I record them and I still don't know what they're about. And then about 3 or 4 years later, I listen to them and I think, oh, I know what that's about now.
So over your sort of career, you've written, I'm right, saying 48?
I'm on about 47 albums. Nearly 20 albums that are completely original work. And I've delved into the kind of folk tradition a lot and recorded albums. But generally on those albums, I've kind of installed one of my own songs on there as well to fit in with the genre as well. So, yeah, a lot of songs, an awful lot of songs.
So do each album have their own kind of category in a way? So
Yeah. They're a story. They're a story in themselves. I try and capture a certain thing. I never do an album without having some sort of meaning. Smoke, Curtains and Mirrors is about the things that you see that are disguised in other ways. So there's songs on the album about lies and treachery. There's songs about looking at yourself, you know, don't be afraid of what you see because tomorrow the sun will shine. There's songs about, there's a song called The Murderers from Hell. It's about people, murderers, who I knew the murderers, and but I trusted them. Just because they're murderers doesn't mean you can't trust them. They're not trustworthy people. Street scene. And so I try and kind of capture a mood. I try to know what I'm trying to say. And so when I'm piecing together the album, what I do is I generally put 4 or 5 songs, and then I listen to those 4 or 5 songs, and, well, Elena will tell you this, I get to sort of 7 or 8 songs for an album, and it's like a jigsaw puzzle, and I listen to it and there's that one piece of jigsaw missing, and then I just go, I know what it is, I know exactly what the song should be, I know what sort of rhythm it should be in, and I just go and write it, because I've been absorbing, I know what I'm trying to say, so it's not as difficult as it seems.
Obviously you travelled all over the world. Is there a favourite country, or is there a favourite place?
I loved India, because the kind of ethos of music in India is completely different from westernised music. It's a thousands of year old tradition, so the kind of the moods that they play music in, the ragas and the moods, they change for certain times of the day. So I learnt a lot about what kind of songs should be set in, what you're trying to reflect, what time of day is it trying to reflect, what are you trying to say. So I learned that in India. I love, I played in Africa, West Africa, which is great because the rhythms are beautiful. And then you get places like New Zealand, which are just fantastic because of the scenery and the time to reflect and to take some space in your own mind. So, and also then again, places like Cornwall, where you can smell the kind of ancient vibes in the whole. Well, you've been there, you know. Kind of, and so that's great for story writing. I write stories in Cornwall, and then you've got Scotland, where we are now. We've just been out to the Outer Hebrides, and there's space.
Plenty of it.
There's plenty of it.
Yeah.
I mean, every single town or every single village has one thing that makes it unique.
Yeah.
And I think rating that to you as like a band, I think it's fantastic. I suppose your ethos and the way you do your thing, it's refreshing. Like every band will tour at some point, but touring right now is your life and it's what you're living right now. Like you're on the road right now, or you're on a track. But you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think that's incredible, and I think that it takes some balls to do that. But obviously, you know how to do it now, and you know. I suppose.
But then it's far easier to take the whole thing on board completely. Like years ago, I bought a canal boat, but I owned a van at the time. But I decided that if I was going to live on a canal boat, I was living on a canal boat. So some people would own a van because they'd go off in or car, and they'd go off and they'd do. But I decided if I'm living on the canal, I'm living on it. So I just lived on it. I got a boat and I started going, and that was it. And I travelled and travelled and travelled. And I think it's maybe, if someone wants to live as an artist, they think, oh, well, I should subsidise my art by doing something else because until my art pays. I don't think you should do that. You should just completely throw yourself into it, because then your every moment of every day is art. Then you begin to see the art and the beauty in every moment of every day, and you don't step outside of it. Another thing I learned in India was that musicians in India don't generally have any property. They don't get paid for what they do because they're musicians. Yeah. So they will play 13 hours a day, and people feed them because they're musicians, and they're making the soundtrack for life, really. I kind of took that on board. So we do concerts, we're doing a theatre show, but we do street performing and street theatre because you have to earn a living. So just earn your living every single possible way you can doing your art, because then you are the only person who's going to let you down is yourself.
Yeah.
And if you're not earning enough, then play better. It's precarious, but you're far better off because you've got a contentment in your mind, because you know that you're doing the right thing for your soul and your spirit. And if it's not working, then change it. You know, so it's pretty simple stuff, really.
Do you have a message to people who will be inspired by this and think, I want to just up and leave my hometown where I've tried to make a success of it? Do you believe that anyone, if they can do it, if that makes sense? I mean,
of course they can. Yeah. It's a state of mind. It's like I was just saying, if you absorb yourself in your art, and there'll be times when you're what you're doing creatively doesn't work. And people will tell you, oh, you should do this and that. Don't do it. Just keep believing in yourself and just keep believing that what you do, because if it's coming from inside you and it's an expression of you, and and you're doing it in an artistic way, it's the right thing for you. So don't give up when everyone else tells you, and people have told me a long time ago, you can't live like this, you can't live without a home, you can't just travel. Why can't you?
Yeah.
Because you can. And when everyone else is telling you no, you just keep going. But that's the dark time, that's the lonely time, that's when you we spoke a little bit about it last night when you said life isn't always a party. Sometimes the only party you've got is in a room on your own and an instrument or whatever you do, and that is the time when you don't give up. That's the time that's when your resolve comes, because that's your soul, and you go right back down to your soul, and then your soul starts breathing, and then that's where you get your confidence from, and that's what you move forward. And then 5 years later, everyone will say, you're wonderful, yeah. But you didn't tell me that 5 years ago when you were telling me to get home with a job. And any kind of art is in itself a socialist statement. And the times that we're living in, which are very capitalist and that, and I know people sell their art for profit and they do this and that, but in general, any art is a very socialist experience. It's especially the way we perform, because we like going to play on the street, because ladies, people in their 80s, 70s, 80s, who wouldn't go to a bar, but they like music.
Yeah.
So we go and play the fiddle on the street, and they love it. They love it because it's it brings to life to a town or a morning. And it's taking and the thing is, take art where there is no art. That's where it's all very well sitting around in Greenwich Village or going to this cool little island off somewhere where everyone grows their hair and bangs drums. That's not the place to be playing. The place to be playing is some of the poorest places in the world, and then they really appreciate. Like I said, I've played in Africa, and they just love it because they haven't got anything, but they've got music, and they've got hope, and they've got dreams. And if they can see music, hope and dreams in you, then they think, yeah, I can do that and my life can be better. So if I've got a message for anyone, don't give up. Art and music and performance art is the food for the soul. If we took music and we took art out of the world, it would be a soulless place. We're waiting for another election in this country. I just don't vote because I don't live anywhere, so I'm not entitled to vote. But they bring in a new law, and it says you have to wear 2 left shoes. And everyone walks around saying these shoes are really uncomfortable. Why have I got to wear 2? You haven't got to wear 2 left shoes. Say, I'm not wearing 2 left shoes. I'm not living like you want me to live. I'm not living. I'm not going to be born and go to through an education system that just wants to churn you out as some fodder for a capitalist world. So you have to do this. You have to pay into that. You have to do this. You haven't got to do it. You haven't got to do it. You can live as a free man or a free woman in your own way and do your own thing. And if nothing else, I'm proof that you can do that. You can be your own person. You can be dignified, honest, and you can live your life how you want to live it. And don't anyone tell you any different.
I did it myself because I quit my job after we met, and I bought the van, and there was this adventure which I didn't know in advance how it would involve, so that was pretty insecure, but I knew back then, I had such a strong belief in our plans of what we were going to do and all the creative stuff, that I was like, well, why not, I think I was the example of someone who lived a life in a small community. I worked in a local village pub, so you are in this social community where everybody knows you and you know everybody and they like you and you do your job well and everything. But if you get sucked into it, so you don't have space, you don't have space left to find out who you really are, because everybody, yeah, you have a kind of role in what you do, and
Yeah.
so I needed space. I decided myself, okay, I go to travel 1 month through Scotland on my own with my car, and there I found space, and it was difficult because you're all alone, you know, in your car, and you have to do,
Yeah.
if you are so into the social scene. And then we met each other in a kind of funny way, and then in a weekend, Mr. Moon asked me, well, why didn't you come with me? Just get on, do some stuff and go on tour. So I was first thinking, well, yeah, just come on, give me a break. Huh? Are you serious? And then, yeah, serious. Okay, why not?
Serious he was. Yeah.
Yeah, serious he was. So then it's all started to roll, and yeah, here we are.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's dreadful, isn't it?
it's dreadful. Yeah.
So, what are the plans for the future?
Well, you should tell us the plans for the next 2 or 3 weeks, because that's the immediate future.
This weekend we have the Speyside Whiskey Festival where we play. We will have the launch of our first theatre show, which is called The Beautiful Dream Show. It's a combination of stories and music, acting for adults to become children. So that you have this kind of dream world, which you, like as a child, you listen to these fairy tales, stories and everything, and you were swallowed into the stories. As an adult, you can still have it. We were trying to achieve, or trying to bring the joy into this kind of show. Life is a joy, and you can live your life as a dream, and there's some messages in it. So yeah, we're really looking forward to it. And also because that was the first idea when we met, because we had to think about what are we going to do together, you know? Yeah.
But I mean, we are strict about what we do. We play the fiddle and barrel, and I sing and play the fiddle, and we do that as kind of street performance. That's our theatre. That's kind of street theatre. So that is that. So that kind of earns a certain amount of living, and it does a certain thing for us, and it earns us some money. But then we're quite disciplined, and then we do concerts, which are mainly stuff I've written, and there we play. I play kind of guitar and the fiddle, and Luke guitar, and sing my own songs. Helena sings as well, and she plays percussion. So that's something different again, and you get bookings for that. So you know, there we're going to earn this, we're going to earn that, we're going to go there. These are kind of signposts to take you places. We fill those routes in between those with street performing. And then the third aspect is the theatre show, which will be according to how it evolves.
Yeah.
But what it does, it gives us a lot of scope for creativity, because there's you've got the kind of fiddle and baron playing. You've got original music, which is kind of more bluesy sort of kind of stuff, and then you've got stories and theatre. So it's the kind of whole gambit, and it means we never get bored, because we always need to rehearse, we always need to record, we always need to move forward. So we're in Scotland 2 more weeks. We go back to Cornwall for 3 weeks to do a couple of festivals, a wedding, and a couple of concerts, and then we're going to explore Brittany. Then we're going to the south of France, because we've already got gigs booked there, and then probably Switzerland, Holland, and then we're going to see all my friends in New Zealand.
Maybe they'll see this.
Oh, they will. Oh, yeah.
Who went to bed with the big boots on? Who took the bull by the horns? Who put the sleep in the Sandman's eyes long before I was born? Who put the ring in the sailor's ear, cast him out into the sea? I was waiting on a long, long boat. There's no one waiting there for me.
Wie gingen slapen met die grote laarzen aan, en wie vat de koe bij de hond? Wie stopte echt iets lekkers in je schoen of voordat je s'morgens wakker bent? Wie maakte de ring in dat zeemans oor en joeg hem in de grote blauwe zee?
sweat all over my feet. I was waiting by the long, long road. There's no one waiting there for me. Well, it started to rain on a Monday, and I was missing you. All the rain fell down like confetti there on a sun-drenched avenue. I hired me a boat just to keep afloat, and I rode off down the street. I was waiting by a long, long road. There's no one waiting there for me. Servants, they won't serve you, they're too drunk to explain. And the entrance hall is empty now, just an echo of your name. There's a woman sitting by the wall, she's a banshee in a tree. I was waiting by the long, long road, there's no one waiting there for me. Colored dream, so wishing you good luck. But what's the point in planting trees when the roots have all given up? And the sky was like a red dragon, and it told me that it was free. I was waiting by the long, long road. There's no one waiting there for me. I said, who went to bed with the big boots on? Who took the bull by the horns? And who put to sleep in the Sandman's eyes long before I was born? Who put the ring in the sailor's ear, cast him out into the sea? I was waiting by the long, long road. There's no one waiting there for me. Long, long road, there's no one waiting there for me. I was waiting by the long, long road.
Oh, lovely, canal. Wow, fantastic.
We are not used to sitting down, eh? I was like,
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Was busking and street performing something that you had ever done beforehand?
yes, I was a couple of years in a street theater band, which was a big group, like 25 people or something. And we were dressed as Nomads with this big vehicle, and we were playing percussion with big drums, and I was playing the shaker. And it was really fun. But it's different then because you're with a big group, but you have the interaction with the audience. So I was a little bit the bridge between the audience and the group.
Yeah.
So a little bit of the clown, and I really liked that. yeah, I developed myself because in the beginning I was a little bit shy, you know. It's different than we do now because you paid for doing it
Yeah.
on festivals and everything. So it was like a real act. And what we do now is like just random going somewhere in a town and pick out your stuff and just play, and then you don't. It's different all the time. It's really
Yeah. Like a mixed bag. So
Yeah.
random. Yeah.
yeah. So that was quite new for me, and also new because back then I was secure in
Yeah.
what I did, and when I started to with Rob Busking now, it's like you're like you know. If I had to choose an instrument to play, so that was kind of a thing. But I'm glad I did it because in the first place he did it alone a couple of times because we need to earn a living, you know,
Yeah,
eating,
yeah.
drinking, diesel, and then I felt really guilty that I couldn't.
He was cold and lonely, wasn't he?
Well, no, I was most of the time I was hungry actually, and doing nothing and looking around in the shops, but I was getting bored. So I was like, oh, I want to do something. I bought an old baron back in Holland, which I didn't know that was a baron, and then I said, well, maybe you could play that. So he carved a stick for me, and then the next day I just joined him, and it was really fun. And then that's how it started.
So have you written or do you plan to write your own songs then?
Well, we talked about it. Of course, I think he would be enthusiastic if I will do it.
Mm.
But I think that's a faraway stage because now I'm just I'm busy with finding my own creative process and my things to it. And if you're living with someone who's so talented and who just
Who are you living with?
and just like it's just all of the words and all these things just come out of his
Sleeve.
Yeah.
Yeah.
because that's how I feel like it. It's just I'm far away from that, you know.
Mm.
But you never know. But
Well, you never know. Yeah.
Do you think that some people kind of look down at you because you're playing on the street? Because I've seen it
yeah,
many times.
Well,
There's
then you can tell your experience in it because I'm just.
Well, yeah. I mean, there's you know, I've seen the stigma, and I used to travel in a transit van, a white transit van, and I remember going into Devon and just trying to find a campsite, and they said went to a campsite, and they said we're full. And I looked around and thought, where? And so I went to another one, and a fella said, look, we're not really supposed to let you stay here, but we will. And I was like, I don't understand, you know, because I just want to pay some money to have a shower like everybody else, you know. Anyway, and so I've had that experience, and but on the street, I think some people are just, I don't think they're not frightened of you, they're more frightened of themselves.
Yeah.
They're more, because they're told how to act and how to behave, and this is something, and they see us on the street in the morning, and they're not really sure what to do.
Yeah.
They don't really know. But then there are.
Yeah, but they're not looking down because that was a question.
Oh no, some people stick their nose up.
I
Some
I've seen it myself. Yeah.
I've didn't have that experience yet that I really have the feeling that people are looking down on me.
No, but
And I know how it feels because it's back in the pub or something, you know. But no, I didn't have that. There are strange things happening, but not that I feel disrespectful, being disrespectful.
But we don't care, do we?
No. We tell them off. That's what we do.
That's the best way to go about it, I think. If you could change anything regarding your journey, would you? What and why?
Oh, my hair. No,
Yeah?
I wouldn't change
Okay.
any of it. But you?
No, I won't. I wouldn't change anything. It's just that I would. It's my own personal development in it.
Are there places that you wouldn't want to go to perform for whatever reason, whether it be in the UK or worldwide? It's a good question.
Yeah, it's a good question.
There's nowhere there's nowhere that I wouldn't want to play.
No, me neither.
Yeah, it could be an experience wherever it is.
Yeah, because it's what we were talking about earlier. It's like, you know, some places that you might think they're dire places in the world, but maybe that's where you should be going to play. If there's no art and there's struggle, then perhaps that's where you should be, because that's where you bring the joy. Maybe you can take a bit of joy there. So no, not really.
No, and otherwise it's just also the that we have, if you are going to places, because sometimes we do now, that we think, you know.
Yeah, but there's
then
lovely people everywhere.
Yeah, and then we have each other. No, but it's serious. It is, because then you just sometimes with the two of you, and you're like, oh man. But then at least you have to have the fun in playing together, because that is what we do.
Yeah, and there's sometimes when you go street performing, you can't really think about. Well, sometimes you have to because you haven't got any money, but sometimes you have to think about money. But that isn't the priority. The priority is to enjoy what you're doing first.
Yeah.
Secondly, to bring some joy to other people. Now, if you get money for it, that's awesome.
Bonus.
Then that's just then it's worked out. But don't expect it. You know, you can't expect to earn great. And sometimes you go places and we're just like, wow, how did that happen? You know, and it's awesome. And some places we play really well and everyone's joyous, and you don't earn much. You think, well, how did that happen? And
yeah, it's all about the surprise.
But that's the joy of it.
Yeah. So I don't think you can exclude some places, because there's always things happen.
No, this is a story. There's a place and everyone in New Zealand who watches, you'll love this, because Palmerston North is a place in the North Island, New Zealand, and John Cleese said Palmerston North. He went to Palmerston North, and he said Palmerston North was for people who wanted to commit suicide but didn't have the courage. So they moved to Palmerston North. So I went to Palmerston North busking. It was dreadful. And I thought it was hilarious. It was so bad. And so the next day I was with someone and I said, I'm going to go again. And they said, you're crazy. And I said, yeah, I might be, but honestly, it can't be that bad. And I went the next time and it was that bad. And then I spoke to other Kiwis musicians and they just laughed because they played in Palmerston North. And then a year later I went through Palmerston North and said, got to do it. And it was dreadful. And it's like, but Palmerston North, I'm coming back.
To anyone who would possibly want to become travelling performers, what would you say is essential to have before they start? Caravan, money, etc.
What you have to do is, there's certain things that you have to fulfil, isn't there? And you have to fulfil the basic functional needs of life. So you need to keep clean, and you need to keep yourself fed, and you need to keep yourself warm. Whichever way it comes, whether you live in a van, whether you don't live in a van, you live in a tent. I've lived in a tent, I've lived in the woods, I've lived here and there. But there's essentials. You have to look after yourself, because otherwise you're just a shambles. And those are the first things that you have to do to look after yourself. And then if you can't look after yourself, then it's a game up. It's game up. And then you have to be a pragmatist, because you have to think, well, to get from A to B, to C to D to E, you have to earn money in A to get to B, to go to B to C. And hopefully you can save a little bit of money from B, and if C's not great, you can get to D. But you have to be a pragmatist, so you have to be functional, and you can't be egocentric about what you play. You can't say, well, this is what I do, and that's a. You have to really play to an audience. There's some songs that I've written or I love that I'd love to sing on the strip, but not going to earn anything, because why? No one's going to be enthralled by a ballad at 10:30 in the morning. They might be, but when you play the fiddle and you've got some energy, it engages them. So you've got more chance of earning some money, and it's really the shortest possible route to it when it comes to that.
The basic thing is about like that you need a roof above your head, and food and diesel if you want to go further. That is a really basic thing, because if you every day, if you have to find yourself a place to sleep, or you don't know if you can go to the toilet or you can take a shower, then you're more busy with that.
Yeah, it takes a lot of hours up, yeah.
It takes a lot of hours and energy than that you already have it, and you don't have to worry about it, and you just can start your day and you perform your art or whatever, or your music.
Yeah.
So I think that's really important.
Yeah, because I've done that. I've done that where I haven't lived anywhere and I've just been sort of travelling and I've had no shelter, and it's true because for one, and I didn't have any transport, so I hitchhiked, and then you get somewhere, and people are great. People take you to their houses, they put you up in the thing, but every day is uncertain. But I don't think it's that bad. You know, it's that in that uncertainty is you find a joy of life because there's so many angels around the world who just help you. But it does take a lot of your day up. The basic fundamentals of living then take most of your day up.
Yeah, it's also something personal, because some people like this, also that this is the part of the adventure, that they don't know where they're sleeping the next day, or, you know? So that's personal. But
we've got it pretty, we're cruising, aren't we, really? We've got a kind of mobile roof, and it's great, it's a great
but
bit.
there was one moment when we thought the van broke down.
Really?
Yeah. And we were in a petrol station,
Yeah.
garage, and well, we were lucky. But if at that moment, after that really nice bloke, that one angel,
Willie.
Yeah, Willie.
Willie from Oban's got
Yeah,
garage
Willie
in
from
Oban.
Oban. And he solved the problem because it was a small problem. But after that, I cried, didn't I? Because I was so relieved that that we
You
just.
still had your home.
Yeah, but that was
And
it's
it
a
could've-
basic thing.
And it could have broke down in a really remote place, because we've been out in the Outer Hebrides, and it could have broke down in the middle of nowhere, but it wouldn't be the end of the world because someone would have come along.
Yeah.
But we must say Willie in Oban was
Yeah, Willie.
he's the back of the shell gauge. She loves Willie, he loves Willie.
Yeah.
She wants to marry Willie, but he's already married. He's already married, he's spoken for.
No.
You're alive. Yes, you're alive.
That was lovely.
Who can hold the longest? Ah!
Oh, brilliant. That's cool.